the defect slave trade was in full effect. And there were so many children being snatched out of their communities with this system that there are thousands and thousands and thousands of children in the system or went through the system that have no idea that they are brother and sister, have no idea that they are cousins, have no idea who their mother or their father is. You also had with the Vietnam War and the Gulf War and different things, but mostly the Vietnam War, you had these soldiers that were over in Vietnam, and they were having sex and mating with these Vietnamese women and having these mixed mulatto children. So now he's split his bloodline. He's, tainted his bloodline, and so he may have 4 or 5 children in Vietnam by 4 or 5 different women. And so his bloodline is just scattered all over the place, mixed up all over the place, and he voluntarily did to himself and his bloodline what white slave owners used to do to him and his bloodline. So, when people have a family reunion, it's for the people that they know and the people connected to the people that they know. But if they had a true family reunion on the reparations standpoint of things, they would be shocked and surprised as to how many different children out there black men have actually had. Now, that's the black male side of things, that he, may have messed around with this girl in high school and she didn't tell him that she was pregnant. Or he may have, messed around with sisters and each one of them got pregnant and didn't tell him or the other one. So you got these children out there. But there's another side of things that is kind of hidden and unsaid, untold, and because there is no evidence of it, it is uncounted. But if you think about the number of black females who have aborted that was never brought to fruition, but it still existed. So, it just becomes a phantom, all these phantom pieces of the puzzle. And there's millions and millions of aborted babies who are phantom pieces of this family lineage chart. But, of course, like I said, they can't be counted. They were never given a name. They were never brought to this world in order to be a part of that family. So sadly, we have to sort of kind of just forget about them. And that's another thing that comes up during this lineage chart that we remind women of, is that it's going to bring out some of that sadness again. If you're doing your chart and you're listing all the children of children, and you are not able to list those 3 children that you aborted. They're not able to be on the chart. That, can be very sad for a woman to have to relive or rethink about. And so, we warn them. We try to warn them of all the different things and emotions that can be brought up when you're doing these the lineage chart. But the main focus of this is that his name is my name too, trying to prepare for the initiative, the reparations initiative, because there's this cloud of whether or not reparations are owed by the generations of whites now has to be answered. It is time to answer that question. And the best way to answer the question of whether or not reparations need to be paid by the whites that are alive now is by comparing it to, let's say, your father or your grandfather had an accident and he accidentally hit and killed a black person, and that black family sued your person was going to sue your grandfather for the damages and the wrongful death. But before the lawsuit could come, the grandfather himself died. Well, that doesn't stop the lawsuit because the grandfather is dead now. It doesn't stop the lawsuit because the person that perpetrated the harm, perpetrated the loss, is dead. What happens now is that a lawsuit goes forward against the family and the estate of that person. And so even though the wife and children, grandchildren, whoever, were not involved in the accident, they are benefiting from the estate that was left behind, or the things that were left behind by this person, this white grandfather that did cause the harm, caused the accident. So it is not like you're naming the wife and the children and the grandchildren in the lawsuit. The lawsuit is against the estate of the person that caused the harm. So when you hear whites, saying, and you see them blogging and whatnot, that I'm not responsible for what my great-grandfather did. Well, if you got any part of his estate, if you are benefiting from his name, if you are in any way getting some kind of gain or benefit from even being white in that family, then yes, you are a part of that estate. You're a part of that trust, that so-and-so family trust, and any of that so-and-so family trust. So while you are not named specifically in the reparations lawsuit, the family name is named in the lawsuit. So if you were going to benefit from a long-lost auntie, then that benefit would be affected by a reparations lawsuit. So, just trying to get to the meat of the situation and the different confusions that are out there. Now, of course, the other confusion that whites have is that as a taxpayer, I'm not responsible for the things that were done before I was born. Well, we know that's not true. As a taxpayer, you are 100% paying for things, many things that happened before you were born. The deficit itself is a debt that is placed on you before you are even born. So you just know that they are not understanding what is really involved in reparations. And so if a state had participation or gain from the slave trade, and you live in that state, and that state is sued for reparations, then as a taxpayer, you are having to pay for those reparations. And that's one of the things that is going to cause the most confusion as to who has to pay. And, of course, if the state is sued, just like if the state is sued for, an environmental situation, if the state is sued for a police misconduct situation, You weren't in the police misconduct situation. You didn't have anything to do with it. You didn't even know about it. But as a taxpayer in that state or in that county or in that city, you are having to pay for that police misconduct or that official